All right. Hi, everyone. I'm John Weinberg, CEO of Startup Hut and the inaugural host for episode 1 of the Greatest Damn Pitch, a virtual road tour finding some of the greatest startup pitchers in America, brought to you by Startup Hut, Curb Collective, and Wefunder. For those of you tuning in, thanks for joining us. If you're not familiar with Startup Hut, Curb Collective, or Wefunder, I'll quickly break it down for you in the simplest way possible. Starting with us, Startup Hut. What we do is help more and more entrepreneurs access capital, mentorship, customers, talent, and much, much more. Curb Collective, they're a community of mentors, investors, and advocates looking to invest into underrepresented founders by leveraging equity crowdfunding and hosting events under the alias Rock the Room, which sounds pretty damn cool. Wefunder, they're an equity crowdfunding service which connects startups with non-accredited and accredited investors online, raising more than $200 million in investments for over 500 companies since 2016. Really incredible seeing everyone come together like this. We know how hard it is to start a company. I know a lot of you out there also know how hard it is to start a company. It is tough. And the thing that I love the most about the partners joining us today is our collective goal to provide support and help make it a hell of a lot easier for entrepreneurs to succeed. Now, obviously, we can't just tackle all of this by ourselves, so I wanted to extend some thank yous here before we get started. First, to the startups brave enough to compete on this show. To every single one of you tuning in live or watching the recording, we appreciate your time. To our amazing partners that I just mentioned, and to our panelists, who I'll get to introducing right now. First, Hugh Geiger, CEO and co-founder of Verbs.ai. For those of you who don't know, Verbs is a dictation app designed for busy executives and business leaders. Hugh also happens to sit as the current president of Techstars Bay Area chapter. Next, the one and only Mr. Jack Greco. As many of you know, Jack is a force in the Western New York startup ecosystem, is an angel, an LP, and a mentor for everyone within that ecosystem. Guy's a one-man army, and we are so lucky to have him on board today. Next, Jenny Tomlin, co-founder of Level, a multiracial network of women who take real action for racial equity through angel investing and authentic conversations about the racial wealth gap. Next, Tony Lawson, CEO and co-founder of Shop Black, which is a digital media platform dedicated to enhancing economic development within Black communities globally. And now, last but certainly not least, a thank you to my co-founder, George, who hates being on camera. He refuses to do so, but he does really well in crushing the production. And Adi Akufo, representing the Curb Collective and Wefunder. Thank you again to everyone I just mentioned. None of this would be possible without you. So now let me explain how this whole thing is going to work. We have 4 startups pitching today. Each company has about a 3-minute pitch lined up for you to watch. After their pitch, there'll be a 7-minute Q&A where each panelist will ask a few questions. And if there's time, we'll source some questions from the audience. So make sure you ask questions in that chat. Hopefully, the companies are going to impress you enough to warrant your vote to win the cash prize, entry into the end of year finals, and some baked goods delivered from their favorite local bakery. Now look out for the link to the voting page at the end of each pitch and upvote the startups that you like the best. After all 5 startups, or 4, have their chance to pitch, we'll conclude with a quick roundup where our panelists will give feedback and do a quick review of the startups. So now real quick, the Curb Collective, they play a huge role in this whole thing. They're going to be investing a cash prize into the winner's equity crowdfunding campaign. The winner will be decided by the judges and the crowd and will be announced after the event. So make sure you stick around until the very end. Each judge can give a total of 30 points per contestant. The crowd's votes will also be counted as 30 points and will be split based upon percentage. So again, do not forget to vote. Everyone out there in the audience, I encourage you to use the chat room. If you don't have a question, totally cool. Just comment something nice, point out any observations you may have. But more importantly, what we want you to do is just sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Okay, now I'm sick of hearing myself, and I'm sure everyone out there wants to hear the first pitch. I know I do. So let's dive right into it. First up, we have Afterrhome.
You know if you are inhaling radon the moment you walk into your home. Raise your hand if you can tell me how many times you've inhaled it. You can't, because most of you don't know what radon is. But you're going to learn today. Know this, you or whomever is sitting in your house right now are at risk. I'm going to let you sit with that for a second. Our goal is for you to leave this pitch competition with more than just saying you had a great time. We want you to leave and say, hey, Afterrhome may have just saved my life. I'm Michael Floyd, and I am the founder and CEO of Afterrhome. I have over 10 years experience in the home inspection industry, and my co-founder, Dr. Felder, has over 10 years experience in urban and social policy. Name an inspector. Better yet, I'll make it easy. Name an inspection company. You can't, because finding a good inspection company is a bigger mystery than locating a Loch Ness monster. Hell, I know, and I'm in the inspection industry, and I still don't know the true cost. But that's why we created Afterrhome. Afterrhome uses artificial intelligence to scan your neighborhood, checking for environmental hazards. In addition, we offer remote live stream inspections to combat the hazards of COVID-19. Afterrhome technology seeks to prevent putting families and houses affected by high levels of radon, lead, and asbestos. We do more than home inspections. We save lives intelligently. That's how we create environmental justice. But we also have investors here, so let me tell you how we make money. Over 5 million homes are sold a year. About 90% of home buyers get a home inspection that averages $500. If we capture 1 million of those homes in 5 years, that's $500 million. We offer a realtor rewards program that allows realtors to offer their clients priority booking and exclusive services for $14.99 a month. Our smart inspection report self-analyzes and sends reports to repair contractors so that you can book repairs without ever making a phone call. Can't find that on Angie's List. Our platform is fun, functional, and so engaging that more than 200 realtors have signed up in anticipation for our April launch. We are raising $250,000 on Wefunder to help us with our advanced features and save lives in the DMV. Before I go, I have one last question. Did you learn today?
All right, great pitch, Michael. Thank you so much. We have our awesome panelists here in the room with us, and we will start with whoever is next to me on my screen. That's Jack. Jack, we'll start with you. Any questions, feedback for Michael?
Hey, Michael, Jack Greco, nice to meet you. Here, hold on, let me just mute this. Sorry. Quick. So, I mean, when you talk about your total available market, I know you talk top down. Can you give me a sense how you're actually going to go to market with something like this, kind of bottom up? You're muted. You're muted.
Sorry about that. Yes. So we're currently in talks right now with ASHI, which is essentially created the home inspection industry. So we're in talks to do a partnership where we offer them their technology, and they give us 3,000 of their top inspectors across the United States and Canada, which will use our technology and do the inspections.
Cool. Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Okay, Tony, we'll go to you next.
There we go. Hey, Michael, how's it going?
How you doing, Tony?
Going good, going good. Great pitch, very interesting company. One question I had, I knew you mentioned something about you have 200 realtors signed up.
Yes.
Are they serving, I guess, what purpose do they serve? Is it more of like a sales team for you, like a promotional?
No, actually, realtors are our number one customer, right? Most home buyers only have a need for the platform one time, right? Most people buy a house once in a lifetime. Realtors have a need for the platform every day, right? They have more than one customer. So every customer that they have, we incentivize them through our Realtor Rewards program to bring their customers to us.
Got it. Thank you.
We'll go to you next, Hugh.
Hey, Michael. Great energy,
How
man.
you doing, Hugh?
That was a great pitch. I just want to jump onto Tony's question, actually, because I think maybe probably putting words in Tony and Jack's mouth here, but I think we're concerned about your market entry and how you scale this. You mentioned those realtors. Are they currently generating deal flow for you? Like, are you seeing, like, is that channel activated at the moment? What sort of traction are you seeing out of that?
Yeah, so we haven't launched the platform. We're due to launch April the 1st. Now, with realtors, as I said, initially people may think our number one users are home buyers. They are not. Realtors are our users. So if we can tap into the real estate market as a whole, meaning the realtors sign up brokerages, that allow us to bring on as many potential customers as possible. Because let's say a realtor has 3 customers a month, right? We get those users. Most people don't know where to find a licensed accredited inspector at, right? So they either Google or they ask their realtor. Their realtor recommends us, right? And because the realtor recommends us, we give the realtor reward points, discounts, and stuff that goes to them as well as their client.
Okay, all right. One other question, just in and around this, is there remediation? Like, are there government grants or remediation monies available? Like, as you probably can hear from my voice, I'm from Australia, so we've had asbestos issues in my country as well. And one of the big issues is you find out you've got asbestos, and then it can be a very expensive thing to clean up. I mean, it's one thing to say that the house isn't safe; it's a whole other thing to fix it. Are you doing any sort of grants connections or anything like that? Does that exist?
There are grants out here, but that we don't cover that. Our portion of the process is to offer them a better way to book inspections.
Okay, all right, thanks.
And we'll move to you, Jenny, last but not least.
Thank you, Michael. My mom actually found radon in her apartment, and it was a big issue. So thanks for bringing that. She's been telling me similar thing to what you're saying.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm curious about the AI component, the technology piece. Is that what's new? Kind of, I guess, the technology in the competitive landscape. Are there others who are bringing technology to this space of kind of the old inspection world? And how do you fit with competitors, and tell me a little more about the technology?
Yeah, absolutely. So for lack of better words, the current inspection industry is like the PlayStation 1, and we're the PlayStation 5. They're still blowing the cartridges, right? So take Zillow, for instance, the number one platform out here for the home buying industry. They do everything except alert you to the environmental hazards associated with your neighborhood. That's where we come in. When you want to buy a house, you know everything about that neighborhood, but you don't know the environmental hazards associated with that neighborhood. So what we want to do is take our data, right? We use the artificial intelligence. We scan that neighborhood, checking for any environmental hazards, hitting all the data points that exist to formulate a report that lets you know this is what's wrong with that neighborhood, right? And so, as far as the environment, right? You take that report and you say, okay, I need this type of inspection, this type of inspection, this type of inspection. We then you book that inspection, and when you book that inspection, most people they don't get all the inspections that they need because it's an out-of-pocket expense. And because it's an out-of-pocket expense, they don't have the money to necessarily cover all those expenses, so they skip them, right? Which can lead to hazards in the house. Like let's just say your mom, she found radon in the house. It is very hazardous. Over 30,000 people die a year from radon poisoning. Most people don't know what radon is, right? It's a radioactive gas, right? So that's what our technology does. And in addition to our platform, when you get an inspection at any other inspection company out here, you have to pay the total cost of that inspection. Be it you get 1 inspection or 5 inspections. We allow you to pay 50% up front, and then the remaining balance is spread out evenly over 3 months. And we attach a small fee, $7 fee to each month, which brings in additional revenue, right? Our platform also ties in the repair part of that. Right. So when you get your home inspection done and you get that report with us, you get your report back the same day within a 24-hour period. Our technology also picks out, allows you to find the the hazards associated with each one of the inspection points in that inspection, and then it sends it to repair contractors and gets you the best quote. And you can hit a button and send that quote to the seller of the property requesting what you want done. No platform that exists today that we can find that does all of that, and that covers that entire process.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
So just curious, Michael, where are you in building this technology piece?
So
how far are you from going to market?
Yep. So we're due to launch April the 1st. And I'll say about 6 months from launch, every aspect of what I just spoke on, it'll be ready to go.
Okay, great. And maybe 15, 20 seconds on, how you got into this industry. It's super interesting.
Yeah.
What made you tackle?
So I grew up in Baltimore City. It's like Flint, Michigan is one of the most deadliest communities plagued with lead. My brother had lead paint poisoning. So we dealt with that a lot growing up. My dad in turn ended up, getting an interest in the industry and started a lead inspection company. He now has the #1 lead inspection company in the state of Maryland called Michael's Lead Paint Inspections. I began working for his company years ago. I learned the business, I learned the industry. And I realized through working and speaking with so many individuals, there was a lack of, technology that's needed to fully address, these needs on a large scale, right? When you talk about the real estate industry, every part of the real estate industry has moved online except the inspection, right? Like I said in the video, it's like a Loch Ness monster. It's a mystery.
Right. So. Okay, great. Any follow-ups from Jack, Jenny, Hugh, Tony? Any other additional questions or feedback for Michael?
Good here.
Okay, awesome. Michael, love the energy. Great pitch. Everyone out there, don't forget to vote. If you like Michael's story and what he's doing here. Next up, we have Erik pitching his company Homeroom.
Hey everyone, my name is Erik Spangenberg. I'm the founder and CEO of Homeroom. Homeroom is premium short form learning for getting better at your job. A few years ago, I was a product manager in San Francisco. I was sitting at my desk and going through a few professional newsletters that had hit my inbox. This was really the bulk of my professional learning because it was all I had time for. But it was really falling short from a quality perspective because while what I was reading was generally interesting and enjoyable, it wasn't actually helping me get better at my job. Most people who work at a desk have zero time for learning while they're at work. In the US alone, that means about 50 million people have to figure out when on the weekends or after hours they're going to invest in professional development. And that used to be a so what proposition. Didn't used to be required, but we're at an inflection point where it is just that. The job market is about to become unprecedentedly competitive, mostly thanks to the rise in remote work. And 41% of people believe that AI automation will be able to do their job within the next 5 years. So the big idea behind Homeroom is that if you can take the 5 minutes that someone has between meetings and turn that into a high quality, personalized learning experience, then you'll have made professional development truly doable for half the workforce for the first time. Our first step in that direction is a big challenge. We want to become the best in the world at selecting one needle-moving article each week specifically for you in a beautiful mobile app. There are 3 parts to this experience. One is outcome-driven learning. You'll tell us about all kinds of things related to your professional goals, development areas, even what you might want to do next. Our machine learning model will use this information and hundreds of data points on thousands of articles to curate the single perfect read for you every week that is directly associated with an outcome that you care about. Part 2, we're creating an environment for delightfully engaging with content in our mobile app. We're restyling articles into a crisp, easy to read format. You'll be able to highlight, save, comment. And then my favorite part is part 3. You won't be alone. if you want, we'll group you with other people in your role at different companies who are reading the same thing. We'll be rolling out Homeroom to one job vertical at a time, starting with product managers. They were the focus of our alpha this summer, when we had 300 of them join us for a couple months as we got this thing off the ground. We'll launch our mobile app in the spring with that same group for $199 per year as a B2C professional learning service. We'll be continuing to build our team this spring, looking to raise a seed at the end of the year. Thanks, guys.
All right, great pitch, Erik. Thank you so much for that. We'll go in reverse order this time for feedback. That means, Jenny, we are starting with you.
Hey, Jenny.
Hey there. Sorry, just muting the other feed. Thank you so much. Really interesting. I actually, in a previous life, worked at Google on the education team, the classroom team, and so have tangential familiarity with this. I actually, that leads me to my question, which is, in the competitive landscape and in the world where you have some of these big companies that take a lot of, absorb some of this stuff, how do you guys plan to differentiate, and how do you, stay alive against competitors in the space?
Yeah, definitely not naive in that we'll be experiencing some competition shortly after we launch, probably, because we've been talking about this for some time. But the gist is that we are two things. One, starting really, really narrow, first with product managers, rolling things out one job vertical at a time. The goal is to hit 4 by the end of the year, but even that may not get there. But the second piece of this is really helping people to build something sticky that's meaningful to them in the form of social connections on the application, and to have a social experience that is differentiated in and of itself. So it's not just people coming in to compete with us that we have to worry about, but also existing social fatigue that is out there. But we think we're really well positioned for that, given that the actual experience of what you're doing is the core piece of these social interactions. And that in and of itself is very different from any existing social platform today.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah.
Hugh, we'll go to you.
Yeah, cool. Great pitch, Erik. I've got a couple of questions for you. First one, I didn't quite get it from the pitch, but are you generating your own content, syllabus content, or are you scraping it, curating it, collecting it from other places? I didn't quite get that from the pitch.
Yeah, we are not generating original content up front. We'll be scraping from what exists. One of our big thesis is that there's so much amazing content and that people generally overvalue stuff that is new. So we want to go back into the Hall of Fame, and a lot of that is already happening today in the marketplace. You're seeing a lot of repos and lists of curated content starting to take shape by different people and organizations. And this, to us, is kind of the next level of that, skipping a few levels, if you will, and that we're adding 2 additional value propositions in the social layer, but also in your ability to really engage and dig into the content.
Okay, and just a question on your fundraising strategy. So you mentioned that you did an alpha last year, and just so they get the timeline right, you're looking at fundraising at the end of this year. Is that correct?
No, we're fundraising right now, actually. So our Wefunder, I just made that discoverable before this started. So we're raising $250K right now through Wefunder. We're also raising $250K in a separate Reg D raise. And those terms are live, line for line, the Wefunder terms, including the early bird stuff. So just taking 2 separate approaches so we can be a little bit more picky about making sure that we're aligned with strategic partners along the way.
Okay, sure.
Thanks, Hugh. Tony?
Hey, Erik, great pitch. A couple of questions for you. One is around monetization. What are your plans to monetize the business? And the second is around the categories of content. Are there any subject matters that you will not be covering or don't plan to cover?
Yeah, really good questions. So monetization, it's a subscription business. at $199 per year. We're charging annual for the most part, pushing that up front for cash flow management, of course, but also we want to make this something that's easily sponsorable, and we have to get above a certain threshold just to encourage people to make that worth it, so to speak. But as far as the types of content that we're going to have on the site, everything we are starting with is really geared towards helping people develop specific skills. That's kind of the anchor of our typology, in that we want these skills to be associated with direct outcomes in the forms of activities that people are doing within their jobs. And the reason we're starting there is because typically what you get in newsletters for the most part is not really getting to that level of specificity to where it's actually helping you get better at your job. And based on our research, this is going to be the way to do that. Some of that content tends to be a little bit drier, is what we found is a lot of the reason that's not kind of the thing that people click on in their inbox or even go out and find, but it's the stuff that matters. And by combining it with this engaging format and the social nature, we're going to make that far more kind of accessible and usable, really for the first time.
Great, thank you.
Erik, this is Jack. So I'm not sure if I missed it. What does the team look like right now?
Yeah, you didn't miss it. It's a truncated pitch there, but I am the solo founder. I've been working on this for about 2 years. One of those years I've been full-time. And I just brought on our VP of engineering. He's a veteran from DigitalOcean. He was at Cisco for 8 years before that. Really important to me is that these first 4 to 5 hires are just as good as they can possibly get, really setting the bar for the rest of the company, as opposed to taking a more like utility approach. So really invested in his name is Blue, and looking forward to continuing that kind of trend in hiring over the next 6 to 8 months as we bring on community lead and then our first product designer after that.
So I'd like to ask founders this. You're giving your, it's February right now, so you're giving your annual, state of the state a year from now. What's the headline on that say?
Our headline is for the public or internally?
No, internally. Like, what have you accomplished?
Yeah, I mean, it's the march to product market fit. And for us, actually, I'm pretty specific about this in that, I care most about getting to that first 10 users who freaking love this thing and are writing home to their parents about it, as opposed to hitting our 490 user threshold, which gets us to this 100K seed round range. Much more powerful, especially internally, to me, to have those really, really fanatical few as the anchor for that, what we build on in 2022. And it kind of sets a blueprint out for how we roll this out to additional verticals, especially within the organizations that we'll be in at that point.
Cool. All right. Thanks, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Great. Any other follow-up questions or feedback? Jenny, Hugh, Tony?
I have one other question if we're asking. How have users in the alpha program, how do they respond to the content being scraped and curated? And yeah, did you have any specific feedback or comments from users around that?
Yeah, so the alpha itself was actually in a different format. We were at that point working with weekly activities was the initial hypothesis. And it was from the alpha that we actually migrated to weekly topics. So we made a pretty big pivot towards the end of last year. And that was purely based on the fact that what was kind of really important from a product standpoint was that we were helping people establish a habit of coming back. And one of the things I was breaking down was it being really clear about what users were supposed to do. We kind of had these open communities around topics, but we took a step towards what people are already doing today that's already delivering value in reading articles, and discovered so much about how that can be improved, just in the not just in the mapping process, but also in how people are actually doing that today.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, good question.
Awesome. Well, if there's no other questions, Erik, great job, great pitch. Love the feedback from the panelists. Don't forget, right after this pitch, there's going to be another link to the QR code. If you love what you heard, scan it, vote, and get ready for our next pitch, which is going to be Noah for his pitching his company, Bescene.
Hey there, my name is Noah. I'm the CEO and co-founder at Bescene, and at Bescene we make video content shoppable. So I want you to think back to the last time that you were watching a video on your favorite video platform and you saw something, could be a product, could be an item, but you saw something that you didn't know what it was, but you really liked it and you had no idea where to purchase that item. So by using Bescene's two software products, they work together to identify products within video content and allow the viewer to purchase that item without leaving the content. So let me tell you a little bit more about our business. We have a two-sided platform. Like I said, we have two software products. One is B2B focused and the other one is B2C focused. So on the business-to-business side, we like to call that Bescene Studio. And this is where content creators, video producers, brands, agencies, this is where they're going to encode product data to their video content. Now on the other side, we have our browser extension called Bescene View. And this is a plugin that video viewers will download to their browser to enable them to identify products and make purchases without leaving video content. So ultimately, we're turning the traditional 15 to 18 click purchase process into a 3-click experience that keeps users or video viewers more engaged on video content and also leads to higher conversion rates. So where are we currently? Right now, we're in the Creative Destruction Labs Accelerator program based out of Atlanta. It's their commerce-focused track. We've also added a lead full stack developer to our team in the past 3 weeks, and we're starting to test with a handful of Shopify stores, being that we're just a few weeks out from launching our MVP on the Shopify App Store. So right now, our core team is a team of 4 co-founders. We have 2 technical founders. I myself am a business founder and also do all of the design work for our software. And my COO is the head of business development. He does a lot of our outreach. So right now, what we're asking for is we're looking to add a growth hacker to our team to help us scale with our outreach and marketing. We're also looking to partner with a lot more Shopify stores to get our client base on board. And we're looking to raise a $250,000 pre-seed round of funding. Thanks.
All right, great pitch, Noah. Thank you so much for joining us. So we'll start off with, we got Hugh. We'll start off with you.
Hey Noah, this is an interesting space. I do have some concerns that you're kind of creating friction on 2 sides here. Have you talked to have you considered rather than a Chrome extension, looking at application developer partnerships, or maybe like just offering your vision engine as an endpoint for other people's content apps? There's just been an explosion of shopping apps that are video based that I'm aware of. Just wondering if you'd thought about the business model there, if you could expand on that a little.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've definitely thought about all different kinds of partnerships that we can create. And we've actually talked to a few other startups, and even some of the customers that we've talked to, or potential customers that we've talked to that would be digital agencies, could be a really good opportunity there for that kind of move, where we kind of license our software as a package that they can then offer to their clients. So that's something we're definitely exploring and looking further into. We've actually seen a lot of traction with that and digital agencies being interested in that kind of play. So we are exploring it, but still, in order to really interface with the video viewers, we have our main piece of software to interface with them currently is the browser extension. Just because this having that piece of software allows us to interact with all types of video content all over the internet. If we interact with one brand or digital agency specifically, then only those people, like those websites, those clients, only those people will be able to be more interactive with the content that they're putting out.
Okay, and just so I understand so I'm understanding correctly, the browser plugin is specifically for viewers of that content, so they're end users, the businesses, customers, clients, whomever, right? So this is me as an end user. I would need to put this into my browser. Is that correct?
Right. So we're starting as a Chrome browser extension for the video viewers, and the content creators, they'll use a different piece of software called Bescene Studio. Bescene Studio allows product data to be encoded to the video content, and then Bescene View allows a viewer to make a purchase from that content.
Yep. Okay. Thanks. Got it.
Awesome. Thanks, Hugh. Tony?
Hey, Noah, great pitch.
Thanks.
I like your haircut, same as mine. I had some questions. I was trying to get more clarity around how a consumer, because you have the B2B aspect and you have the B2C, who is using it in the B2C area and how?
Yeah, so currently through our personal networks within our team, we've been able to collect a lot of people that are interested in downloading this and using this. The way that we see the adoption happening with our customer acquisition and users is going to be much like how content creators promote products in their content already. We see a lot of YouTubers and video content producers that will plug their products and their videos, like, hey, follow this link to go buy my merch, or things like that, or go check this out, go check that out. We're going at it in a very similar way, where we're partnering with the content creators, and then they are promoting us within their content. And by having end users download this software, it helps the users better engage with the content that they're viewing.
Got it. And is there some type of revenue share agreement with the content creators, or?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're working on somewhat of an affiliate program where we partner directly. Currently, we're going to launch with Shopify stores. Mm-hmm. So our application will connect directly with their store on the back end. And then each product transaction, we will do a revenue share of that transaction.
Okay. Got it. Thanks, Noah.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for that, Tony. Jack, over to you.
Hey, Noah, nice pitch. So playing off a little bit what Hugh said, that there's some other people kind of pushing into the space. Mm-hmm. What is, do you guys have a unique advantage based on who you are, or, maybe the particular industry you're going after first? I'm an investor in a company up in Saratoga called PowerSpike. That's a platform for influencer marketing, but it's specifically with, esports. Like, that was their way in. You watch their pitch deck and they're in the middle of doing their A, and they want to talk about a million different things they're going to do, but that's their focus. So what is that kind of hero focus is the wrong way to think of it, but that first really conquerable state where you're like, hey, we can kind of crack in and be different because of this. Mm-hmm. And then I don't need to know how that turns into total world domination. I've heard that part of the story a million times, but mm-hmm. What are the first couple steps?
Yeah, for sure. So like I mentioned, we are starting with Shopify. We actually did that kind of as a pivot within the past 2 months, where we realized that originally we were trying to make our own platform, everything included. And then one of our mentors in the Creative Destruction Labs Accelerator helped us make this pivot, where we realized we can better piggyback off of a platform that already exists. So we're really going at the market starting with Shopify stores. And then from a content standpoint, we're really focused on DIY videos and also tutorials. So these could be outdoor equipment, it could be makeup, it could be clothing, but those are really the core pieces of content that we're going to be going after first, just because that type of content is very easy to identify products within. because it's typically somebody that's just sitting in front of a camera and very clearly showing you a product in front of the camera. So that's really the specific niche that we're targeting to start.
Thanks for that, Jack.
Thank you.
Jenny, on to you.
Yeah, it's interesting. You touched a little bit on the team and your role. Can you talk a little bit more deeply about the team and what expertise in this field? Has anyone done something like this as you're coming into it?
Sure.
I'm kind of interested in the team. And then second, you talked about a couple pivot points. Like, what have been the biggest challenges you've come against so far?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So from a team standpoint, myself, I did my master's degree in entrepreneurship. So I'm always thinking about business ideas and things like that. I do all of the UI UX design work for our software. My CTO, he has a master's, he's pursuing his master's in machine learning and robotics. So he is creating all of our artificial intelligence and machine learning models that are going to identify products within the video content. Our lead full stack developer that we just brought onto our team in the past 3 weeks, he actually has a lot of experience in this space, especially with regard to building Shopify software, because the company that he worked with previously is actually a Shopify brand. So he did a lot of product development there and led a lot of the project work for getting everything online and set up and daily operations there. Our other business co-founder, he helps me a lot with business development and outreach and also investor relations. And then one member that I didn't really mention, but we have I would say, technical advisor. He's a principal technologist at AT&T, and he helps us a lot with the backend APIs, basically tying things together from the backend side. And sorry, you had another question. What was the other question again?
Yeah, if we have time, just to add the second part. So you guys so far, we've talked a little bit about the challenges, but what have been the surprises or challenges along the way so far?
Yes. So the biggest thing that we're actually still working on, we've actually found a couple partners that can help us with this, is what's called a universal shopping cart. So this cart is a payment processing facilitation piece of software that basically will integrate with our Chrome extension to handle all of the purchase processing. And basically what a universal cart does is it allows you to take products from different stores online. So say you have something on Amazon that you want, something from Walmart, something from Nordstrom, something from Target. You can add them all to one cart and check out from that cart, and the order goes to each store individually. So that's really like the biggest challenge piece of software that we've finally found a couple partners that can help us integrate that.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thanks everybody. So we have 2 startup companies left. Noah, thank you so much for joining us. Everybody, there's going to be a QR code on the screen following this. If you love Noah, you love the company, please vote. A lot on the line here: cash and baked goods, which I'm really into this whole baked good thing. So hopefully you guys vote. Next up, we have Brian pitching Pigeon Loans.
Hi, I'm Brian Bristol, founder of Pigeon Loans Incorporated. Pigeon Loans is the world's first and leading global lending platform dedicated to enabling individuals, friends, family, loved ones, and people who just trust each other the most the ability to make loans with one another. Pigeon Loans was created as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. At the time, I was faced with a trouble in which I needed to make a loan with a family member of mine. There was no online solution that was robust and allowed me to actually make a loan with that individual. So through searching through the market, whether it be on Google or Facebook or Yahoo or even just patent books, I was faced with a problem that I didn't find a solution to. And I found out that there's just nothing out there. So I actually took the time and took the initiative upon myself to create the solution. And upon doing some more research, I found out that Almost $200 billion in the United States is moved every single year as loans, and then we estimate that about $1 trillion is moved globally as loans between friends, family, loved ones, and people who just trust each other. So with nearly $1 trillion in the global market not being serviced by a single company, we decided to be that solution for people. What we did is we created an online platform, and in this online platform, individuals can come to our website and make loans with each other. What they can do on our website is they can create and sign legally binding contracts. They have an online payment system that allows them to move money throughout the process of their loan. We allow them to track and manage those payments, utilizing reminders and alerts and different mechanisms to keep everyone honest. And we do all of that without performing any credit checks or having any barriers to entry in order for a person to actually create a loan. All of that is serviced at a low to no cost at all. Our lenders, it's free for them to use the platform, and for our borrowers, we only charge a small subscription fee. So how do we plan to service this massive ambition that we have? What we do is we plan to become the de facto lending platform for individuals all over the world when it comes to making loans. In terms of our traction thus far, here are some of the things we've accomplished already. We're a US patent pending company. We've built a team of amazing individuals ranging from Oxford graduates to entrepreneurs that have had billion-dollar exits already. We've partnered with multinational organizations like HelloSign and Stripe to get the word out there about Pigeon Loans, and we're also growing at a tremendous rate. And that rate right now we're estimating to be about 400% user growth month over month, and we're also working on converting nearly 600 users in our pipeline to paying loan customers. So we're off to a great start thus far, and we're excited about the future. So our ask today is that you join our community, whether it be supporting us through our social media efforts, writing a check as an investor of Pigeon Loans, or even just spreading the word about our product to your friends and family. We believe getting the word out there about this tool and about this platform is paramount to the success of our company at this stage of our existence. So thank you for listening, welcome to our flock, and we're excited to keep pushing on into the future.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much, Brian, for the pitch. That was great. I kind of lost track on who got a chance to start first and who didn't. So I'm just going to go ahead and pick anyone. Tony, we'll start with you.
Hey, Brian, great pitch. The question I had was around what differentiates you from the other P2P lending platforms out there. And I'm assuming it's around your patent that's pending. So if that's part of it, could you go into a little bit more detail about that?
Yeah, so for us, we have quite a few competitors kind of that are similar to us, but not exactly us, right? For us, our technology is built in a very microservices scalable framework. And what we did is we said, hey, can we take those bits and pieces of our framework and package it in a legal manner that allows us to get a patent for it? So for us, we separate ourselves by being extremely flexible. We can do loans from 0 to 25,000, 0 to 84 months, 0 to 99%. We can do the whole gambit in terms of the loans itself. Outside of that, we also focus on speed. For us, speed is like super crucial. We've taken the process of like 2 weeks for a loan, whether it be getting a lawyer or actually putting out spreadsheets manually. We've taken that 2-week process and drilled it down to about 8 minutes. And combining all those different factors, we said, hey, this is the package that is Pigeon Loans. We're presenting as a unique and kind of different proposition for people within our industry. And that's how we were able to go and get that patent that I talked about.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome. Thanks for the questions, Tony. Jack, we'll move to you.
Brian, nice pitch, man. So, you know, I've started to get into this giant black abyss that is like fintech, right? And it's like it blows my. I feel like there's like everybody's doing fintech, which is good. There's gonna be some solutions out of it. So what's gonna position you to win, right? I mean, one of the biggest things on this. I mean, this is a B2C play, right? And there's what 7 or 8 billion people on the planet. How are you going to market? What's making you special? You know, what's success for you? Like any of those.
Yeah, so I think for us, winning is a very focused mindset. Like we have to be very diligent on how we go forward into the future. Like I feel as though we're similar to Dropbox when they were first starting. Like they came with this new innovative idea. They're saying, hey, you can store stuff online. And then they knew bigger players would come into the future and actually impose upon their market share. And the way Dropbox was able to survive is they were able to create a community and create a niche within themselves that said, we're extremely good at what we do, and we do it to the best of our ability. And we're going to be very focused on actually doing that and providing that type of value for customers into the future. So that's how we kind of approach the impending competition that may come to us. And in terms of go-to-market strategy, there are specific people that we really talk to. So whether it be people who are trying to start a small business and need to obtain some capital from friends and family, or people who are trying to purchase a car or get a home and they just need some help from their loved ones, or even just people who are trying to get through school and they know they have a grandmother, an uncle, or someone who has the financial well-being to actually get them through that process. Those are the types of people we really want to focus on and actually speak to. And in order for us to actually speak to those people, we need to get them at the end of what I call the confusion funnel. So when I actually came up with the idea, I was on Google searching and I was like, how do I get paid back from my friends? How do I make this loan? Like, how do I do this? And there was nothing that was popping up that was speaking to me from that kind of robust solution standpoint. If we can plug Pigeon Loans into the end of that confusion funnel, then I feel like we'll have a lot of success in terms of bringing people over to our platform and actually making these loans.
Cool, thanks. Had a hard time finding you, but
Perfect. Thanks, Jack. Jenny.
Yes, I want to maybe piggyback on what he was asking and the end of that confusion funnel. Are you spending money on marketing right now? How are you kind of trying to find these people? Because I do see it's interesting. We're also in this space of loans, and it is, anyway, I do think there's something unique about what you're doing, but how do you tell people that you're doing it?
Yeah, definitely. So we have done kind of beta alpha runs of digital marketing campaigns. And what we've done, we focused on the big ones first. So we try to do like a Facebook or a LinkedIn or kind of the household names, right? And in doing so, we've just put out our mission out there and we said, this is what we're doing. We're doing it for a low cost. Are people going to bite and see whether or not this is sticky, right? And when we did that, we actually were quite shocked by how sticky it was. Like we only spent about $2,000, but we had about 500 signups in the span of 4 weeks. So we're like, wait. Like if we take a step back and think about that, we're doing about $3 to $4 per user sign up. And we're saying these are people who are actually coming to our platform, interested in making a loan. Maybe they might not make it yet, but they are part of the funnel and we can convert them in the future by going through the due diligence of reminding them that this platform and this tool exists to remind them that, hey, we're supporting you in your loan journey and your financial well-being.
Just as a follow-up, can you speak a little bit? You said you have 600 users in the pipeline. So where are you in terms of traction right now?
Mm-hmm. So for us, we did kind of that beta for the 4 weeks period. And then we took a little bit of a break to actually focus on what are the analysis that came out of that 4 week period. And over the past 2 or 3 weeks or so, we've revamped back into that side. And we're actually trying to do a little bit of a counterintuitive move. We want to speak to lenders as well as we were speaking to borrowers in the past. So for us, all 600 of those people on our platform are people that we have email communications with or social media interactions with, or just some type of interaction between Pigeon Loans and them as the end user. And we're trying to get them to say, hey, learn about how to make a loan, learn about how to actually go through the process, and learn about how to actually start something on our website.
Well, thank you.
No problem.
Awesome. We have about like a minute or two left. Hugh, I'll pass it on to you.
All right, I'll keep it simple then. Could you talk a little bit about maybe your fraud mitigation strategy and like some of the thinking that you've done around how do you regulate a marketplace of this kind?
Mm-hmm. So he wants us to stay out of a lot of the regulation conversations in terms of payments and legality aspects, right? So for us, we have a lot of our payment legality structure and compliance handled by Stripe, which is obviously the big bad guys of the universe of online payments. And in terms of the legality aspects, what we've done is we've created boilerplate contracts. Now the contracts we have all disclaimers for, and we say, hey, make sure you have a legal counsel vet this if you need to make any changes or alterations to. But we've gone through the due diligence of putting these contracts in front of hundreds, not hundreds, tens of lawyers across the United States. And they've come to us and said, hey, this is something that would stand as a promissory note in the United States and can stand in different countries as well. So what we're planning to do in the future is continue to build out kind of that team. Like if we can have more lawyers in Uganda or Ecuador or India or different places across the world and have them create the documents in the languages of their countries, then we can be even more certain that these types of entities will actually stand in their court of laws and be used as collateral for any type of loan that is made on our platform.
Okay, thank you.
All right, everybody. Thanks for your patience. We are back. We are almost there with finding a winner. Before we do announce that winner, though, I want to start with Jack. Then I'll move over to you, Hugh, just to get a general sense or just get some feedback from you for these startup companies. It doesn't have to be specific to anybody, any specific company, but something that you like, something you didn't like, something that you typically tell startup companies. I know you guys work with a lot of them. So we'd love to start with you, Jack. Any advice or things that you might have?
Yeah, great job all around, right? Like, it's running a startup's tricky, right? You not only have to run a business, but you have to try and talk about it in a way that people want to give you money, right? Which is not part of any other type of business. But I thought you guys did a good job. I mean, I cannot overemphasize the amount of importance on customer discovery and customer fit, not just for your individual startup and the investors that are going in it, but for you guys yourselves also, right? I mean, there is only one resource, and it's time. And there's nothing that grinds my gears more than seeing founders that, aren't putting that investment in up front. And, because of that, they burn a lot of good calories. I didn't see that much with you guys, but I can tell you, however much you've done, it's not enough. It's never enough. But besides that, keep fighting the good fight.
Nice. Love that.
Yeah, look, the pitches are great. I think everyone's working on some really interesting, meaningful spaces. I think one of the things that stood out for me, it's similar to what Jack touched on, which is that I do feel like whilst you're focused on really important issues, I think there's a lot of scope for reducing the friction there, because oftentimes for consumers, there's a lot of choice. I think every product we saw today has competitors. And one of the things that can get you over the line is either a great go-to-market that's different or incredibly low friction, some way of sliding that customer in and becoming a habit before that person really even thinks twice about it. And I do feel like there was a lot of process barriers, at least in terms of how these things are talked about. The other comment that I would make, and this may be the context of this pitch event, is that sometimes raising less money is harder than raising more, and really having a strong story for how much capital you need and what it's for. And sometimes I see like newer entrepreneurs ask for too little money, and the investors that they talk to will often be saying, this is not enough. I've seen this category. I know how this category works. You're not going to get to the next milestone with this. So I would encourage all the teams to have a hard think about their milestones and what they're fundraising against as they move forward.
That's great. I completely agree with you. And we hear that a lot too, especially over on the Techstar side. When companies are trying to raise money, it's a really important point. Some are afraid to ask for too much, and sometimes that bites them in the back, and it's just not great. And I know, Tony, you have some feedback as well that you wanted to give.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed all the pitches. I definitely enjoyed seeing everyone's passion for what they're doing. I just want to say, without giving any information or advice that's too technical, it can be very frustrating out there. You're kind of like this is your baby and you're selling your baby, trying to get money, but don't be discouraged, by what goes on or what doesn't work out in your favor. Just keep going. You might hear a million no's, but don't let that stop you from, keep fighting the good fight.
Got to fight that good fight. And Jenny, any comments, feedback?
Yeah, some closing thoughts. It was really interesting. What a range of products and problems you are tackling. So thank you for sharing with us. I think we didn't have a ton of time for questions. And so a couple, I didn't get to hear quite as much about the team. And I always really appreciate that we got to ask that from a couple of you, but really talking to yourself and your personal story and why you're passionate and what brought you to this, I think is helpful in a pitch if you didn't get the chance to do that. And the competitive landscape. Some of these are more crowded spaces than others. So just having some data about what your competitors are doing. But overall, really enjoyed the passion and the interest and the glimpses that we did get of those personal stories that brought you to where you are. So thank you.
Totally. The story is also really important. You know what? It's tough. It's the 3-minute pitch and then having to do the questions after. It gets really complicated, but I think everyone did a really good job of getting their point across. I would definitely agree and say that stories are probably one of the most important things. And that's why I wanted to ask Afterrhome initially what his story was, because it's such an interesting space to be in with that industry. And it's definitely quite the challenge. So we, I believe, are still tallying up the winner. I want to just say, everybody, thank you for sticking around and joining us for the debut series of the GreatestDamn Pitch virtual tour. There will be another series up. We will also announce the runner-up and the winner of this at Rock the Room, which is pretty exciting. And over the next few days, you'll see an invite coming your way for our next event on the 22nd, showcasing some more amazing, diverse, and indigenous entrepreneurs from all over the U.S., pitching about a surprise theme. Now, the winner for this event, actually just got it in, is, drum roll, none other than Pigeon Loan. So congrats to Pigeon Loan and Brian for winning this event. Runner-up was Agape. So there will be coordination on your end for the cash prize. Also, baked goods. Do not hesitate to send some of those baked goods my way, or any of the judges. I'm sure that we also love some baked goods. Jack, I know you would love some baked goods too. So all in for that. Keep an eye out on your inboxes for your startup lookbook, where you'll get to see an overview of each startup that pitched. If there's anyone that wants to do a follow-up with these companies or wants to learn more, feel free to reach out. Do not hesitate. In the spirit of paying it forward, please just walk away with, again, making a connection, an intro, or a follow-up with one of these companies. Aside from that, have a great rest of your night, and we'll see you next time, where we have 5 more companies joining us on the GreatestDamn Pitch. Take care.
Thanks, buddy.